This presentation is brought to you by the Electronic Motor Racing Network. We are a for-hire broadcaster. If you would like us to stream your league, contact DayPaulB661 on Discord, member number 1015. Thank you, and enjoy the race. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the TI Racing Indy Car Series. My name's Alan Bledsoe, and I'm here with Gary Godsoe here. Gary, I know I kind of asked you to do this last minute, but it's awesome of you to join me in the broadcast. Jesse wasn't able to make it, and I'm glad you were able to do this for me.
Well, thanks for having me. Normally, I'm here every week as the doing the color commentary for Chris Scala, the captain. He was supposed to be in today's race. That's why we're going to have you guys do the broadcast. And unfortunately, something came up, and he's not going to be in the race. I was supposed to be in the race, and my direct drive on my Fanatec wheel gave out. It's probably going to be at least another 12 days before I see that back. So I heard that there was a little help needed up in the booth. I said, hey, I'm not doing anything else. Otherwise, I'll just be guiding my team, doing some spotting, some data with them for tonight. And, well, they don't need to have me in their ear. They know what they're doing. So I'm going to be here joining you at possibly, if it's not my most favorite place in the world, it's probably closely number 2 most favorite place in the world for me. Being a resident of Indianapolis, it's the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
So much history here in Indianapolis as the 48's losing control and in the wall. So there's a ton of history. This track opened up in 1908, so it's well over 100 years old.
Yeah, sure. And actually, some of the first races it had weren't even automobile races. They raced hot air balloons here, and also raced motorcycles here. Well before they even started bringing the first which they call the 500-mile sweepstakes back in 1911. Of course, that was won by Ray Haroon. And the one piece of technology that we use on our cars every day of the week, every month, every time we get behind the wheel was originated in that race itself was the rear view mirror.
Nice.
So a lot of times the cars back then, they would have the riding mechanic. So what Ray Haroon figured is that I'm going to save the time and weight of having a separate person in the car, and I'm just going to put this rear view mirror here, which is, again, top end technology at the time. And he was able to go a lot farther, a lot longer than anyone else because he didn't have that extra weight in the car, and he was able to win that first race. I think it was right around about 5 hours was the actual race length. And I think the average speed he raced is a fairly common speed that most of us do on the highway these days. So he was probably hanging on, white knuckling it, and it was probably at a speed that we're probably driving with our knees and tapping our foot to our favorite tunes on iTunes or whatever as we're going down the road.
And that was way back when this was actually a real life yard of bricks.
That's correct. The original paved surface of the track was bricks all the way around. Then come about the post-war era, they decided that they would keep the straights as bricked, but they would pave the turns. And then eventually in the 60s, they went ahead and paved the entire track as basically a safety method. However, the track's been paved so many times, they did it like a cross section. It was pretty cool. It's like a fossil analysis where they drew a peg into the surface there, and they brought out kind of a cross section of the track, and you could go down many different layers, and you can see the different layers of asphalt as the track was repaved over the years, all the way down to the original dirt that was at the site before they even laid down the brick. So quite a lot of history there, and multi layers as a matter of fact. It's kind of like looking at kind of layers of a if you did any plate tectonic type stuff in college or high school type of stuff, you would see like different layers of rocks and whatnot. Very much the same way when you would dig into the cross section here of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, you would see many different layers of asphalt, as well as getting down to the original brick layer and then into the clay underneath.
That's awesome. It'd be like looking at the rings in a tree.
Exactly. That's probably a better way of putting it. You thoughtfully put a better example than I did. But that's exactly what it is looking at the rings of a tree, kind of showing the age of a tree versus the age of a racetrack. So we are actually getting ready to go qualifying here. We got 10 minutes. They're going to do 3 laps. The best lap of the 3 works. We're not going to do average. We were going to do that originally, but I don't think they set that up in time. So these guys are going to hammer it home for at least the first 2 laps, maybe turn a lap pit and do another lap to do everything on fresh tires. But we all saw a 2:28 by Justin Miller in practice. That might have been draft dated. I don't know, but I do know for a fact that Justin Miller is extremely fast on these ovals. That's kind of his thing. And I would not be surprised if we do see a 2:28 legit here in qualifying.
So my question is this qualifying setup, is it fastest lap of 3 or is it average lap of 3?
No, it'll be the fastest of 3. Unfortunately, I believe we were originally going to do an average of 4, and that takes a little bit extra to set up at the front. And I think the session got set up at the last minute. And so I don't think that got set up, but maybe that will be something that we do next season for Indianapolis, is do a 4-lap qualifying. But they will be doing 3 laps, and it'll be the fastest of the 3. And you could do anything you want in those 3 laps. You could turn your very first lap very fast and then brake immediately and then reset to the pits and then start again if you want. There's certain things you could do that really aren't part of real racing, but you can do because it's part of sim racing that you might see drivers do here. So you might see some drivers, if we're actually watching them on the screen here, you might actually see them come to a stop right after the start-finish line and then reset back to the pits and take back off again because they just refreshed and reset everything, so they'll have another set of fresh tires to go around track. The problem, what ends up doing that, it also resets their fuel level. So it ends up, even though they have fresh tires, they're going to be reset on that fuel level. So what they might also need to do is sit there in the pits and actually burn off a little bit of fuel before they take off. But there's different strategies you can use, and a 3-lap best lap is what's counting. But right now, Charles Baldwin, in an 18, he is currently sitting on the provisional pole at a 39.7. That's a 227.622 around the speedway. That would have been about roughly the speed to barely get you into the race this year. 230s were definitely and 230 pluses were definitely the speeds that you saw on the polls for the real 500 when we finally ran one here with people back in May. But the 228 it probably would have got you mid-range in the field, maybe towards the back. And that's just the nature of the tire model and the track model that's being used. If they ever decide to update the IndyCar tire model and the IndyCar or the actually Indianapolis Motor Speedway model, we might find those speeds actually go up a little bit. Also, keep in mind these are using fixed setups, and the fixed setups are also, I don't want to say they're dumbed down, but they're made so everybody can get the racing experience and not have to be, an engineer by trade in order to run these cars. So it's something easier for them to get behind the wheel and go at it. So I'm sure that if these were open setups and people could tweak them a lot, maybe take a lot of drag out, maybe we'd see closer to 230s as a regular lap.
Right, and I will say that the fixed setups are typically a lot tighter in iRacing. I just ran a race last night at Charlotte in the cup cars. That that fixed setup is so tight you have to be on the brakes going into turns 3 and 4 by lap 10. And when you've got a 50-lap run going, that's a lot. That's a really tight car. That's a lot of tire wear. So maybe we'll see a little bit of extra tire wear here at Indianapolis.
Tire has not really been as much of an issue at Indianapolis for Indy cars as it would say for a full-bodied stock car. I think a lot of that has to do with the aero package and the fact that the cars are so light. Fresher tires at the beginning of the run, of course, they will be faster, and towards the end of the run, as tires get worn out, the speeds will come off a little bit, but it's not as noticeable as you would see in a Cup car or an Xfinity B car or something like that. And another thing that we probably won't see that you're probably used to seeing in Xfinity or Cup cars is there are no tire limits. The IndyCar does actually have tire limits, but they loosely follow them, and they mainly just allow, if you need to put on another set of tires, they allow you to go ahead and do it mainly for safety reasons. So a lot of these guys will have unlimited tires in the pits, and that is also one of the things that a lot of people, if you're new to IndyCar racing, you probably not know that they're pretty much not going to have tire limits. The other thing that IndyCar can do that can help with the tightness is that one of the things that they have that really no other type of cars in the service have. Well, some of the other open wheel cars do, not a whole bunch of them, and some of the LMP and LMP2 cars have would be like in-car tools, which would be like the adjustments to your sway bars, allowing if your car is loose or tight, that you can adjust those bars to help get your car through the corner a little bit better, as well as these guys can also adjust brake bias. They also can adjust the stiffness of the right rear spring, which was what we'll often in the broadcast what I'll call the weight jacker. And then another thing that they can also do is engine mapping to help conserve fuel along a long run.
And that's going like the saving fuel. I believe that's called fuel mapping, right?
Yeah, well, it's an engine map, but yes, and it's basically you can. It's in one of the black boxes, or if you have one of the nice wheels or whatever from Fanatec or whatever, you can map it on the wheel. As you can, as the run gets going, and let's say that you're making good time, you're not getting it really held up. The guy in front of you is not really holding you up. The guy behind you is not putting a lot of pressure on you. You can tune that engine mapping down a little bit, and then kind of ride in the draft, and that will help you get a little bit better mileage. We're looking at about 23 laps is about the earliest the pit window open, because we'll be running at 85% fuel here. But I think we'll probably see most people going to 25, 26, and 27 laps as they try to conserve fuel. It's going to be a 120 lap race, Normally, these cars at 100% fuel are roughly about 30 laps per stint. Now it's going to be about 25 laps per stint. And as that works out, it's going to be awfully close right at the very end, whether or not some people might have to come in for that little extra splash and go, or that might be good to go to the end. But we'll have to see how some of these strategies play out. A lot of it's going to have to come down to and boiled out to is how much caution we get. Lately, the trend on the iRacing and the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, watching the IR8 teams run, is there's normally a first turn, first lap wreck, and then the most of the race goes pretty much caution-free from there on out. But we saw last time that they were here that we had multiple caution sessions, so saving fuel was not an issue towards the end. So we're really going to see how, as the race plays out, what strategies are going to come out of all this and how people are going to try to ration that fuel. Because what's going to happen ultimately is that last stop that they're going to make is the less fuel you have to put in your car. It means less time you have to spend in that box. That means less time you have to spend sitting there with your wheels not spinning. And that ultimately can be the margin of victory or losing a race.
Amazing. It's amazing that it could come down to that one little mistake. And that goes for really any race. Spin your tires anywhere and you lose a little bit of speed and you fall back and you start finding yourself in the dirty air. And even with these cars as slicked out as they are, you've still got dirty air to contend with. And the 62, hard into the inside wall.
Currently, right now, we got about a minute left in qualifications. Kites Bommersbach, part of the Kamigoye squad, is a 228.3. We got Isaac Morris, the defending champ right now, just took the green flag. He's going to try to put another lap up on the board. He's currently provisionally P2, 227.9. We have Nate Brody, who is P3 currently. He's also part of the TI Racing squad. He's one of the teammates with Isaac. He's P3 to 227.9. And then the car you just saw hit the inside wall there, that was Stephen Larkamp. He's also part of the Kamigoye squad. He's currently provisionally
Justin
P4
Miller.
with a 227.9. Yeah, Justin Miller, like I said, man, he can lay down the laps on an oval. He has one career Crown Jewel race win here. He won when we had our first Crown Jewel race at Fontana about 2 seasons ago. He knows what he's doing. He could definitely put down a win here. He's definitely a dark horse, I'd say.
And closing in on the final seconds of qualifying, you've got the 51 of Lester.
Yeah, I'll just say Lester.
Lester. And looks like Sam Blackwood did not get a lap time in.
Yeah, Sam is unfortunately, he's going to be doing an EOL due to a penalty at our last race at Road America. He should be serving that penalty, I believe, with Ed Kerstetter. I believe as Ed Kerstetter also had a incident with him at the last race, so both of them should have EOLs. And they really have an interesting position where if they want, they can actually start from the pits, and they might avoid that whole first turn calamity if it does happen. Actually, that was a big saving grace for me when we had the Indy 500 fixed weekend on the iRacing service. I actually was provisionally qualified 5th for my split, and I did not know anybody in my entire race. And I said, I think I'm going to go ahead and sit out the start. I'm going to start from the pits. And sure enough, going into turn
wreck.
one, the car that started at position 4, which would have been right next to me, spun out and took out 2 other cars behind him. So I'd saved my grace. And I ended up catching right up to the back of the field. Didn't really cost me a bunch of time, just cost me track position. Worked my way up from there, and at the end of the 500 miles, finished 4th in my first fixed 500. So not too bad, but definitely had the feeling of doom and not wanting to take the rolling start on that one.
Well, we're coming to the grid, and you can see the pace car there, leading or about to lead the field off. You've got Kite Bommersbach and Isaac Morris on the front row, obviously, as mentioned before. So let's talk a little bit about the standings You've got driver standings and team standings.
Sure.
Which one do you want to do first?
Let's do the drivers because that seems to be what, as more things change, more stays the same. Because really, it's Isaac Morris and everybody trying to catch him currently with the point situation there. I'm trying to bring that up here real quick if I can find it. Current standings, there it is. But we got P1 Isaac Morris, and then we have Kite Bomber Spock with the Kamagway crew back there in P2. Ed Kerstetter, who actually missed the first race of the season, shows up at Fontana, wins it, and all of a sudden he's in P3 in the championship. That's a familiar position for him. He's a regular competitor from a couple seasons ago. Sam Blackwood, in his first full season, P4 currently, and he's got a long way to go right now to help rescue his day because he's doing that EOL. Carlos Gonzalez, Dortero, Luke Daniels, Dan Morera, Lester, and George Whitehouse and Edu Vila make up a top 10. Most everyone's pretty close from about P3 on down. But it's a far cry from P1 and P2 and P2 and P3 as those two guys have kind of separated themselves from everybody else. For the drivers, for the team's situation, it's TI Racing by the power of Isaac Morris is currently leading that championship, followed by Kamagoya, Addict Racing, and LMC Gear.
Wow. I mean, Isaac Morris was dominant in last season. I believe he ended up like 150 points ahead of everybody else. It was crazy.
Yeah, he is. He is no joke, and he puts a ton of time into the craft. You don't think actually practice time makes a difference, and it does. But here we're getting ready to go green. Kais Bomberbrock bringing them down to the green flag, and we are off 300 miles here in Indianapolis, 120 laps, and we are diving into turn one. Watch out, folks.
Here we go. Turn one, and Isaac Morris tries to close the door.
Yeah, there's that loose. Oh, that's exactly what I was talking about. There's a loose from getting into turn one. You saw kind of a car had to check up there, got a little loose, someone got in the back of him. That's exactly what I've seen as a trend of Indianapolis. That's kind of what happened, and I'm not sure who was in.
That was Justin Miller in the 80.
Oh, Justin Miller. Oh man, that's going to be painful because he was fast, and so now he's going to have to storm from the back.
So going back and taking a look at this. If you
can show the replay of that, yeah.
Yeah. So Miller tries to get to the inside. Oh, and got hit from the rear by who was that? Was that?
That was Larkamp. It looks like that nudged him from the rear, and that was nothing malicious. I don't think really anything that was malicious in that entire situation. I think that's just a racing deal there. Unfortunately, that's going to cost Justin some track position. Now, Justin is now kind of in a position where I tend to like to be in these races, where I will just keep dipping myself back into the pits and topping off that tank and topping off that tank and topping off that tank. So he might be in a position where he could run a little bit longer on this first full stint once we go green.
It's possible, but we're catching up with the pace car now. So Justin Miller getting off to a poor start. It got loose on turn, I believe that was turn 2, and then Steven Larkamp just kind of got into the back of him. Little bit of damage on that 62, maybe. At least I saw a flapping wheel.
I see who dumps into the pits here.
I'm not seeing anyone.
Justin's making that dive in.
Yep. So, like you were saying, Justin Miller taking advantage of that early spin, gonna top it off.
He's got. Well, I mean, he can probably get a look at have the virtual engineers take a look and make sure there's not any damage on the car. Top off the tank and get a little bit extra mileage on everyone else. Really, everybody in the back there, they got nothing to lose really at this point from, I would say, 13th, 14th on back. They might as well go ahead and stop, get new tires, get topped off, and maybe play the long game here. maybe, just maybe, while you're sitting out there running the long first stint, and if it goes green, which the current trend has been, you're going to have an early yellow, and then you're going to have a long green session, if not a long green run to the end of the race. It's going to be nice if he could stay out, and you possibly might catch a yellow while he's out, and that will then bring him right back to the front of the field.
Yeah, a little bit of that fuel advantage, but how often does that really happen? Like you have 3 laps of extra fuel than everybody else. What are the chances that you're going to catch a caution with those 3 laps? Like how hard are these cars to drive on fresh tires?
It's not necessarily the fresh tires, but there are certain things that can happen. First of all, when you're coming out of the pits and you're just hustling, you're down there on the apron, you're on the access road. There, you kind of saw it in this year's 500. Unfortunately, it was a wheel that came off on Graham Rahal's car. See, you got Justin coming back in again. I think he's going to top himself off. But Graham Rahal actually was hustling it back up to speed and lost a wheel and ended up spinning while he was coming on the access road and almost took out the leaders. But we've seen that happen to cars here on the iRacing service that aren't even losing tires, and people just kind of hustling it, and it kind of loses adhesion. And that could be because they forgot to set their weight jacker back to a negative number. They had it in a positive number because they were behind a whole bunch of people, and they were trying to get through the aero push. So they had a big positive weight jacker number. That's going to make the car more loose. And as they're coming up to speed, the car doesn't have as much downforce as it normally would have because it doesn't have the 200 miles per hour worth of wind coming over its wings. The car is going to get loose. And that's kind of the problem you're going to see in turn 1 on these restarts too, is these cars need that 200 miles per hour plus to develop the necessary physics to keep them down on the surface without getting loose.
As we see, as is tradition here, Kite Bomber's back, letting the pace car go quite a ways out. I believe the limit is like 30 seconds, is it?
Yeah, this is something that we started experimenting with last season based upon some really bad restarts that we had. And mainly because, this is predominantly a road course league, and they only race on 3 ovals a year, and they're pretty much all super speedways. And so we had a lot of accordion level type wrecks happening as people were checking up, and then other cars were ending up into the other car's gearbox in front of them and that type of thing. But this is actually what real IndyCar racing does. And because the iRacing service is basically a NASCAR service, and they kind of cut IndyCars as one of the things, and all the NASCAR rules and everything apply to IndyCar in terms of these restarts, this is what really happens in real IndyCar racing. They allow that pace car to get way out in front, and then the crew chiefs will say, okay, he's in the pits, green flag, go, and they're at full speed by the time they're coming off at turn 4, and they're not getting into any of these accordion type of issues. And as you see, they're already up to full speed, and Kite's kind of done the snake maneuver, kind of break the draft there as they're going in the 1.
And Kite actually, it looked like he led the field to green a little bit later than is usual. Maybe he started hitting the gas full throttle going into turn 4 instead of coming off of turn 3. Yeah, turn 3 like you would expect.
Yeah, well, that's leader's prerogative. If you can catch the guy out, if you can catch the guy behind you kind of sleeping, or maybe he's trying to jump your start, that type of thing, that's his prerogative. And now I think what we're going to get going into is we got 4 really intelligent drivers at the front of the field here. And I would not be surprised here if Isaac just kind of lets Kite there to punch a hole in the air and to help his gas mileage. And we're going to see this guy. We're going to see this unless there's some cautions further on back that will cause this field to go under caution for some reason. I suspect we're going to ride this first stint out just like this for the most part.
And it looks like the field is spreading out just a little bit more each lap after that really nice restart. It seemed like that was an intelligent restart by Kite to go as late as he did, because it kind of caught everybody besides the top 4 a little bit off guard, maybe.
All right, and you want to talk about someone racing possibly with a little bit of red in their eyes right now. Justin Miller, currently purple with a 41.1. So he is already in the back making time, but he is the fastest car on the track at the moment.
Only 4 laps since he last pitted. Is it possible maybe he decided to go ahead and take tires when he came in that second time? Obviously he didn't take tires the first time, but maybe he did the second time.
I didn't see the car go up, and when I say go up, they have pneumatic jacks under them where they will stick in an air hose. It's been different spots in the cars over the years. I believe in the current IR18s, there's a outlet in the back where they just kind of plug in there, and the car will then rise up on pneumatic jacks, and then they have a single lug and nut, on the hub there that takes each wheel on and off. And I didn't see the car go up. Normally when the car goes up, they change tires. Very rarely will you see these cars ever do something like they do in stock car racing, where you take on right side onlys, or maybe take on left sides onlys, or maybe only take on rears. They are able to change tires so quickly that you might as well, if you're going to stop and you're going to be there for a full tank, you might as well just go ahead and put on 4 new tires, because those 4 new tires are going to be mounted and ready well within the time frame before that tank is ever full.
Right. And that's kind of what, obviously NASCAR is not going to have the technology to lift the entire car up, but because they're so heavy. But they are going to a single lug nut next season.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm looking forward to that. Mm-hmm. And actually, I think I did read that pneumatic shocks might actually be on the menu, depending on it all depends on safety and cost, of course. But all it takes is one team, like one of the big teams. And like the idea of pneumatic shocks for IndyCar racing really is kind of a Team Penske type thing. Team Penske basically is the innovator, the trendsetter for many, many years in IndyCar racing. That's kind of what led IndyCar into their current technological realm that they're in now, that they've kind of been in since the mid-'80s. Before, it was really just, it could have been weekend racers getting in a car, throwing some wings on it, and kind of going at it. Team Penske kind of brought that level of professionalism and technology into the fold here, much like if you look over on the Cup side, like Hendrick Motorsports is kind of doing over there. If somebody over there in Cup racing says, hey, man, I could put pneumatic shocks on this thing, and they're going to allow it, and it's going to be safe, and it's going to prevent a guy from coming over the wall with a big piece of equipment that could hurt himself or somebody else, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw him go with pneumatic shocks in the future in those cars.
Meanwhile, we've got Grabowski off the pace a little bit. Wonder what's going on with him. The 69 car, he was running in the top 10, and all of a sudden fell back to last. Going really slow. Way off pace.
Let's take a look inside. Currently in 6th gear. Not sure what his current pace is. He's doing 2:14. He might be nursing some damage. He might also trying to be playing the long game with fuel. But what happened is that he's allowing that car in front of him to get too far down the road. He's really allowing the leader to get too far ahead. So if he does want to pit, he's probably going to go a lap down. But we'll see. He's normally a road course racer, but he's a pretty intelligent one. Maybe he has a plan and a thought in mind, and he's going to stick to it.
Maybe. But saving that fuel, it looks like. He might be saving fuel. He might be doing something else. It's hard to say right now. We can't speak for the drivers, obviously.
Yeah, it's really tough to tell kind of what they're thinking until they make that first stop. Mm-hmm. Once they make that first stop, it's kind of when they expose what their strategy is going to be. And right now, with the exception of Justin, no one's made that first stop yet. So it's really tough to tell kind of what everyone's thinking. I can kind of, being that I've run a number of these races and with this league and at Indianapolis, I can kind of tell you what they're thinking right now. It's just the best guess is that they're looking at fuel conservation. And that's kind of why you've seen everybody kind of stay put as is. And certainly the top 5 really have gone unchanged since the restart. It's been Bommersbach, Morris, Brody, Larkamp, and Morera since the restart.
And they're not even trying to break the draft. Like you saw the 80. He kind of dove down to the bottom, did that little snake maneuver, trying to break the draft off the car behind him of Isaac Lopez. These guys up front, they don't want to break the draft. They just want to save their fuel.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what they want to do. They want to go as absolutely long as possible. I think a driver to watch, if you go back to P13 in the Mach 5 paint job there of Sam Blackwood, he is up 7 spots in P13. Saw him going down the backstretch there, putting David Winsley under attack. And he might make up that position there and move himself even closer to that top 10.
He is trying really hard, and Wimsley's just going to let him have it.
Yeah, it's a wise move by Winsley. I mean, you look at the lap count. Do I want to really contest this? Do I just want to live to see another day and another lap, and maybe I'll get this guy while he's in the pits, or maybe he smacks the wall 30 laps from now, and I'll pass him that way. There's nothing wrong in iRacing with being passed. I think a lot of people have this negative connotation about being passed, that, oh, you're slow, or you're in trouble, or you're having some issue. There's no issue with being passed. And you don't really see it often in IndyCar racing, but it's definitely a strategy. Here he is on the back end of Jim Herrick.
Oh.
He's going to probably get this position here soon.
Oh, someone got into the wall. Maybe Ed Kerstetter. Yeah, that's
not
Ed.
good for good. Side by side in the 3. Ooh, almost gets in the wall there. Yeah, I really call the live to see another lap strategy, live to see another day strategy, the Mark Martin strategy. That's kind of where I learned it from. And I'm not a huge NASCAR fan, but I always seem to remember watching him as a kid. It's like, early in a race, him waving cars by, and then at the end of the race, there he is fighting for the win. And that's kind of
super loose.
Yeah, he did. That's kind of exactly what I want to do. Is I don't care where I'm at the beginning of the race. I only care where I'm at the end of the race.
And that's a strategy that really ought to be used more often, utilized more frequently as one. I can't. For some reason, I can't remember his name. Maybe a Mike Bagley would use. But
looks like Sam Blackwood got the position on Herrick. He's now up to P11, and he is going to run down his corporate teammate there, Ryan Eric King, who is currently sitting in P10.
And Blackwood is he's not putting up the fastest laps of the race, but he's putting up some of the most consistent laps. I see the last lap, Isaac Lopez got a 41.175, which was the fastest lap on the racetrack. But that I've been keeping an eye on those lap times. It's been swapping for everyone. I think it's a product of the draft and people getting out of the gas and everything like that.
Yeah. So now we see. I'm not sure who we're watching on screen right now, but I'm still watching Blackwood coming up on Ryan Eric King.
Yeah, this is Blackwood.
He is well within the draft here. He's not going to be close enough to pull it off going into 3, but being the fact that they're corporate teammates, they definitely know that they're around each other there. So Ryan probably will give, hopefully Ryan and Sam give each other a little bit extra room on that. But you're going to start seeing multiple lines here because of the aero draft and or aero push, excuse me. And one of the things here you're going to take a look here, probably on the outside going on 1 here.
Nope, he let off the throttle a little earlier than Ryan.
Yeah, car to wall, Wimsley up
21.
top in the short chute. That's going to probably bring out a caution. Guys got to keep their foot in it because sometimes iRacing doesn't always throw one.
That was the 20, sorry.
That was Wimsley.
And
no
he
yellow
went for a tow. Let's go back and take a look at what happened.
So what he just kind of on exit kind of kissed the wall, and that kind of kicked the back end out.
Oh, that's a hard lick on the inside wall.
Yeah, it's very reminiscent of not exactly the hit, but kind of the direction of the hit of Scott Dixon's hit there about 3 or 4 years ago on the 500. He actually went airborne, got his car cut in half, and ended up walking away from it. But you make that jump to the inside wall there in Indianapolis, and that is not a safer barrier.
Yeah, that's a concrete barrier with a guardrail next to it.
So lately, within the last year or so, or at least when IndyCar made its last new tire model makeup code, there's been really two distinct lines in Indianapolis that you can run. You can run the low line, which is the typical line that everyone runs, and then you can also run a high line. The high line is not the quickest way around, but it's the fastest way around. It's also the way to allow your car to, you can defend using the high line. You can also go on the offense a little bit on the high line by, because you don't have as much, you're not using as much turning angle into your wheel. You're not scrubbing up as much speed on the high line. You're able to close up on the car in front of you. Not to mention, since there is a different line entirely, you also have the benefit of having air getting to your wings, which you normally don't have if you just simply follow the car in front of you.
And so you said something that really got me thinking. What is the difference between the quickest way and the fastest way?
Okay, so when you're in qualifications, you are going to go right down to that yellow line, white line, and that is your way around this thing. When you're starting to get into traffic, you can't get down on that yellow line because you have that. Here's the inside look for Sam Blackwood in the 3 on Ryan Eric King. So now he has worked his way up to the top 10. A very brilliant run so far into this first stint, and we're coming up on pit stops here, probably in the next 7 laps or so. But the fastest line is you could run a tenth faster by running the high line around the track in traffic because A, you're not turning the wheel as much, so you're not scrubbing off as much speed, and B, you don't have that aero push causing you to kind of crack that throttle a little bit and causing you to kind of come down on time. So the high line is the fastest way around by about a tenth, but the quickest way around, the fastest way around ultimately is, oh, there's a car into the wall in turn 3. Not sure who that is.
I couldn't tell. Is that?
That might be Edu Vila.
That's the 93.
Oh, yeah, that's Edu Vila.
Yeah, he's trying to. Well, nope, that's not him. He's headed to. Someone's headed.
Okay,
to
so it's. I think
18.
it's Baldwin. I think it's Baldwin. Charles Baldwin. Yeah, it's Charles Baldwin.
Oh, he's
got
significant right front damage.
That wheel's pointing in the wrong direction.
It's pretty much locked up too.
Yeah, he might be able to get that fixed, but his day is going to be done. He's going to end up laps down. So kind of back what I'm saying is the high line, when you have traffic on the course, is the quickest way around by about 1/10 of a second. When you're qualifying, the quickest way around is all the way down on the white line. If that makes any sense.
It does. When you're by yourself, you want to be down on the white line, but when you've got traffic in front of you causing that aero tightness, aero push, I should say, then you want to be on the high line because you, for one, probably, not that it makes that much difference, but save your tires, and for two, you can you're not dealing with the aero push.
Okay, so you saw the move. I don't know if we were watching the leaders, but we saw the move by Kite where he came off a 2 and then dipped down to the inside. That is his sign that he is going to be pitting this time by. So we are at lap 26, and the first of the green flag stops are starting right now. So here he is coming into the pits, going to get down to 60 miles per hour right at that line, and then it's a slow, painful crawl to your stop.
First and only car on pit road this time. Gonna cross the start-finish line. And this is lap 27, so 27 laps on fuel.
Talking with him before the race, he did say that 27 would probably be when he would probably pit. So this is completely planned. So now we got go back up to the leaders, and we have Isaac Morris, and he has Charles Baldwin, who got repaired rather quickly right in front of him. I'm not sure if maybe we have fast repairs enabled. We shouldn't, but at least not on the ovals.
Oh, it doesn't look like it. He's down on power.
Oh, that wheel! Oh, that wheel! He cannot be lapped that way. Oh, now I see that wheel. That should be a black flag.
Oh my goodness! Look how it's pointed.
That should be a black flag. He should not be on the racing surface at all with that wheel. I don't know if he sees that, but everyone around him, well, now it's snapped back into place, so I don't know.
No, it's not in place. That is clearly.
There he goes, back down to the pit road. It was kind of dangerous right there. Stewards probably got to look at. We got looks like Lester and Edu Vila also are pitting coming off at that time in turn 4. So further on back, lap 28 for 3 cars. Isaac Lopez also in that group. Andres Perez also in that group at lap 28.
My question is, when is the 80 going to pit? Justin Miller, after getting that extra fuel free for an extra 3 laps.
I'll see. Leaders are coming in this lap, hurrying radio traffic that the team cars, P1, P2, are both coming in this time. There they go. Here comes everybody else. Everybody.
Except for the 26, Dan Morera.
Look where Sam Blackwood is. Oh, wow. Now, Morera actually lost a position. He was up in 5th place, and he got passed by Dotero. He might have turned it down a little bit, trying to get a couple of extra laps out of that first stint. And if so, he's going to get credit for a lap led here.
Wow. And Blackwood was driving through pit stalls. In NASCAR, that would technically be a black flag, or at least in my league race. Is that allowed here in this league?
Shouldn't be. Really, the rule is you stay far to the right along the wall. Then you can get down one lane about 5 spots away from your stop, and then it looks like Brody got the drop on Morris. Wow. You don't see that every day.
Isaac Morris lost a spot on pit road.
You do not see that every day. Could also
and he's
be.
Actually, wow.
Oh, here comes Kite. Kite gets a run on him going into 3. They got traffic there. Careful, fellas. That's Charles Baldwin there. Looks like he is repaired. So the first 3 cars, of the 4 cars in your picture right there, the first car, the second car, and the 4th car, they're all like corporate teammates right there. And then you got kind of poor Kite in the Kamagoye team right there, kind of all by himself. Kind of get ganged up on here a little bit because he's got the lap traffic in front of him, who kind of really should be yielding right now, but he's not quite doing it. He doesn't really have to. He's not holding him up per se. But if I was looking at the Kite, he's gone to the high line. He's trying to find a cleaner way around. If I was in the car, I'd be like, man, get out of the way, get out of the way, get out of the way.
You're just creating draft for me.
Yeah, exactly. You're creating arrow push and drama that I don't need while the guy in front of you, who I know is your corporate teammate, is pulling away.
And maybe that's the intention. Team orders, perhaps?
Well, you know, team orders is kind of against the rules in NASCAR. It's not specifically against the rules in Formula 1 or IndyCar racing, but if you don't think team orders exist, you're just kind of naive.
Well, everyone, after those green flag pit stops have cycled, we are going to take our first break of the afternoon. Lap 32 of 120 will take you side by side. This presentation is brought to you by the Electronic Motor Racing Network. We are a for-hire broadcaster. If you would like us to stream your league, contact DayPaulB661 on Discord, member number 1015. Thank you, and enjoy the race.
Ooh, 3 wide.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Electronic Motor Racing Network. We are brought to you by Apex Sage Coaching. Get all your coaching needs from Isaac Morris at Apex Sage and Drive Business Solutions. So, Gary, we are watching a pretty impressive race, not only by Nate Brody, but it's actually a pretty good race for a top 5 spot. Carlos Dotero.
Look at the pass here for, or at least attempt on P3 there with Isaac and Stephen Larkamp going into 1. Isaac is not being allowed to really run away with this one by anybody at the front today.
Yeah, he's more of the road course guy, isn't he?
He is, but he's also, just by nature of knowing him personally, I mean, he actually drives for me in another league in one of my teams. He's really good on the ovals as well. He's an excellent all-around driver. In fact, if I can't really think of very few people that I would put in a car to drive to represent me other than him, short of finding a real driver out there possibly, if I could ever find one, you know. But he's what you get on the ovals is a great equalizer. The great equalizer is the aero push. Everybody has it. Everybody has to fight through it. And he's fighting through the exact same conditions that everyone else does. You don't necessarily get the aero push on road courses. Sometimes you do, depending on what the course is, like Watkins Glen, or, you know, you might actually get the aero push like going through the carousel at Road America or something like that. But the aero push is the great equalizer. You know, they talk about the rain. Hopefully, that's one of the options we're going to get coming up here and out from the surface is road courses with rain. Rain being the great equalizer.
Awesome.
Aero push is the great equalizer on ovals.
So, I mean, it's always the really fast tracks. I mean, obviously, you were talking about the lap speeds. Here, it's 128, something like that. Right around is the average, as we've got Sam Blackwood right on the rear of Carlos Dotero.
Yeah, Blackwood is up 14 spots. So he has made it a personal mission to put the Mach 5 in
Mach 5.
Definitely, in Mach 5, yeah, for sure.
He's working on trying to get back up there. Lost a little bit of speed off of that, trying to make that pass on Carlos, and now is working his way back up towards that back end of the 48.
Yeah, that's what happens when you pull out and you try to make that pass and you can't quite pull it off. Then your momentum is stalled, and it'll take another lap or so to get that momentum back. Bobby Unser always used to say on those ABC broadcasts, it's like big flywheel. These guys are like big flywheels, just, you know, faster and faster, faster each revolution. That's kind of what's going. Is you have to check up. You lose that momentum. It's going to cost you a lap or two to get that momentum back all of a sudden, and you'll probably lose a couple positions if you're in close racing quarters in the process.
One thing that I'm noticing here is that 48. He's actually, like you were talking about, he's actually running about a lane off the bottom of the track in the corners. And that is not not at all where Blackwood is running.
No, and actually, if you were to go to watch the real Indy cars, go back and watch like this year's 500 or any previous 500, you'll never see a car running that high and through the turns, or at least very rarely, let's put it that way.
You can't make the time up.
You go where the guy ain't, and so he's trying to get some handling advantages, as well as not having to turn that wheel as much to the left and scrub off speed. See, Larkamp got way below the white line, almost onto the concrete there on the rumble strip, so he is able to cut down a lot there in the turns.
And let's go back to the great equalizer comment. It took me some time to actually remember what I was going to say about it with the Blackwood and Dotero battle. So the big thing about the aero push is, yes, it makes you slower on the turns, but it makes you faster on the straightaways. The leader doesn't have that advantage where you get faster going through the straightaways. but he can go faster in the turns, which is why you see all this back and forth here.
Yeah, it's a big accordion. And right now you've seen like a 7-car breakaway starting from Whitehouse all the way up to the front. And it's a good representations of teams that are got that team addict up there. You got TI, you got Kamagoye. All the teams in the top 4 of the points there are all well engaged with each other. And just kind of ride it out here as we're about 16 laps or so from the halfway point, give or take.
So what are the team limitations on these team numbers? Can you have up to 4 teams, or are there there more limitations
to have
than
it? No, to have a team, of course, you got to have more than one driver.
Right.
Otherwise, you're just a privateer independent. But a team, a minimum requirement for a team is 2 cars. Maximum for a team is 4 cars. When it comes to Triple Crown races, to make the fields a little bit bigger and to also give more opportunities, because Triple Crown races are a little bit longer than standard regular season TI road course races. Give more opportunities to earn points. You're allowed a 5th car for Triple Crown races. So some of these teams out here have as many as 5 cars on their team.
That's amazing. And we've got 20 cars out here. I'm actually noticing Steven Grabowski has exited the session. He's out of the race, so 19th place, not going to be a good run for him. Jim Herrick and Charles Baldwin are both on pit road. It looks like they're done for the day too.
Yeah, I wonder what happened to, I don't know what happened to Herrick, but Baldwin was up there with the leaders for a while. I wonder if maybe he made some more contact with the wall when he got shuffled out there and made contact again with the wall, just trying to stay out of some people's way. But he was definitely up there showing he had the pace. Right now, got 15 cars on the lead lap, only 1 car lap down. Now, and unfortunately, in Indy Car racing, we do not have the lucky dog. So in order for Perez there to get his lap back, what he needs to do is, if there's a caution that comes out soon, is everyone in front of him pits. He doesn't pit, and before they go green, he will get a wave around on the pace car, and the pace car always picks up the leader for the restart. So he would get the wave around, pick up the leader, and then he would go to the back of the field. Problem is there, he might not have time to actually get a pit, so he'll be kind of gambling that he'll need another pit stop if that's the case.
Yeah, you want to have another caution right after you take a wave around, for sure. That's got to be part of the strategy. The question is, will a caution happen? You're really banking on it happening, but ever since the start of the race, the first lap, the lap 1 incident, we have not seen a caution since, and that's been 47 laps ago. So
yeah, I mean, that's exactly, we saw a near caution with Wimsley, but I mean, that's exactly what I said the trend is you're going to see an early caution, and then you're going to see a lot of green flag racing. And so you've got to maximize the way that you conserve your fuel. You'd hate to think that on a track that speed matters so much, is also one of the tracks that fuel economy matters so much. So these guys are right now in what I like to call the dog days of the race right now. They're in the dog laps, or this middle portion of the race where it's just one lap after another, kind of droning around. What am I time?
it's like
they're
riding
just
around
at
at
making,
Daytona.
Yeah, they're just looking at making mileage at this point. They probably won't start really thinking about racing each other until the next to last stint, or maybe the absolute last stint, when they try to make that bonsai dive on the pit road to make that instant and Winston, or not, I call almost Winston Cup racing, but a Cup racing, where they try to get to that cone and break at the last second while coming to the pits. These guys will play that game too, and that rewards as well as it also costs them mightily. Is if you get caught speeding here, it's just as painful in a full body car as it is for an Indy car.
Yeah, for sure. So these guys really do not want to get themselves a penalty, and this is a really competitive race. Like you said, we've got 15 cars on the lead lap, and every single one of them, maybe with the exception of the 93 and the 10, are within striking distance still of that lead draft.
Yeah, they want to say from first to seventh, the interval there.
Well, I'm seeing 1.9 seconds.
Yeah, 2 seconds. So if let's say the first car and all those other cars weren't in between, and then you just saw Whitehouse there, Whitehouse would just be outside of the draft window. I mean, that's kind of how close they are. If you want to, if we want to be kind of give you some scale, the draft window is about 1.5, or the draft envelope, excuse me, is about 1.5 seconds on these cars. If you get inside of that 1.5 seconds, you are within that draft envelope, and you will start uh, feeling the aero effects of the car in front of you. So to have that many cars between first and seventh within that tight window, that's a pretty competitive race thus far. Problem is, it's a small field, and when you get small fields, they get strung out, and that's where the opportunities of the yellows become fewer and fewer because you have less cars racing with each other. Really, it's going to take someone to kind of make a brain, mislapse. So, brain, they got to go to sleep, or maybe something happens to their equipment and their VR glasses go out or something, and they cause a wreck. That's kind of what it's going to take sometimes when these cars get spread out.
10 car is on pit road right now. That is Isaac Lopez. Sorry, I had to look for him on the leaderboard because I don't quite know these numbers yet.
Leaders coming in. 1 and 2 coming in.
Got it.
Oh, Kite did a great job catching up, closing the gap there. We also have, I believe that is George Whitehouse also coming in. And also we have Edu Vila also coming in on this. So we got pitting on lap 54.
And remember, that's where the lead change was on pit road. That's how Brody got the lead. He leapfrogged both Isaac Morris and Kite Bommersbach to take it over. Will he be able to do that again? Here comes Kite. He does it.
No, he doesn't. But here's the thing. I mean, Kite did two identical stints of 27 laps. So he is keeping to that plan. So if we look at no cautions, the next time we expect to see him pit is going to be at lap 81. And that will take him then, if he pits again, we go no green to 108. And then taking him home, that last one will get him more than the way home. So he's ahead of schedule.
Yeah, for sure. The question is he maybe pitting too soon now? Because you're seeing, like, the 21, obviously he's already on pit road, but who might be saving enough fuel to maybe, I don't know, get an extra pit cycle out of it?
I don't know if we're going to have anyone. We're going to have people who get extra laps, but I don't think we'll have anyone that'll get an extra, enough laps so they don't have to make an extra stop. Last stint, Dan Marrero went the longest, 30 laps. Whitehouse, Blackwood, and Doltero and Larkamp all went 29. And it seems like most people are kind of sticking to their original plans. Most people, I'm looking at a lot of these stints people are doing, and then they're doing identical to what they did before. Looks like Blackwood, currently on pit road, I think he might have done a little bit less, but I think he was doing a lot more racing in that current stint, and I think he did a little bit less than what he did on his first stint.
So, I guess my question is, if you do 27 laps as opposed to 30 laps, you could theoretically make it on what's the number? 3 stops? That could be a 3-stop strategy, I want to say.
Yeah.
Whereas a 27 lap run, that would put you at 4. Would it put you at 4 stops?
You might have to take a splash and go at the end.
Yeah. So these guys that are making it 30 laps, they are splitting the race into quarters.
Yeah. And the fact that they can even go 30 laps with 85% fuel says a lot, because Normally, it's when you're at 100% fuel, you do 30 laps. So they're actually making the car go about 15% further than normal.
And Isaac Morris, he's coming in 29 laps in to his run. So
this is going to cycle through Brody and Bommersbach, and they are currently at the end of the backstretch now. They're going to catch Isaac. But Isaac's going to pop out probably right just behind them.
if not, like, right in the middle of them. It's going to be awfully close. Well, he took a little bit longer on his pit stop than what I was expecting.
Here they come. Yeah, he was at 8.4 in the box, 8.8 in the box. And he is, it's going to be close. It's going to be close.
Oh, yeah, he's going to come out right behind him. You called it right. How could I ever, out strategize you? You've been doing this a lot longer than me. Or out commentate, I guess. But
so looking at the comers and goers here, so I think everybody has made their stop. Let's see, that time by, Brody did 24, Kite did 27, Isaac did 29, Larkamp 28. 28 seems to be the longest, along with Carlos Del Tero. Let's see, Blackwood is the most gain spots with 14. Del Tero still the purple lap at a 40.7. And unfortunately, Charles Baldwin has kind of had the roughest day of all. He's down 10 spots, and I believe he is of the race currently in P7.
And Dotero, that 48 car, he's actually got a really impressive fast lap, because that's a tenth and a half faster than the next fastest. No, I see a 40.726 from Larkamp.
Yeah, the Dotero lap was a 2:21.9, 9:69. Larkamp's a 2:21.904. So they are within a blink of an eye, literally.
Yeah.
You mean the 2:20s are about your average lap. That's definitely in the draft. Yeah, I mean, if he was by himself, he's probably looking at a 2:20 or 2:19, somewhere in there. That's what most people are going to be by themselves and under race conditions of the race setup. So it's still a pretty good lap. It means that he's putting himself in position so he can get runs on people, and that's kind of where you want to be. He's a real good oval driver. I don't know how patient of an oval driver he is. I was racing him in Michigan one time, and he was racing me way too hard for when we needed to run down the leaders. And I'm like, man, get behind me. We can run down the leaders. And he just wanted the position really, really bad. So I don't know if he works well with others, but definitely he's fast.
That's one of those points where you're just like, all right, screw it. I'm getting behind you, and I'm going to push you.
And I've done that before, but like I said, sometimes the perception you give people when you allow a pass is that something's wrong, or you're slowing down, or I'm better than this guy. There's been a number of times where I've just kind of screw it. I'm gonna get behind you, and I'm gonna let you plow all the air in front of me, and I'm gonna save gas off your weight. But even then, when I was trying to do that with him, he wasn't catching the hint that I wanted to run down the leaders. Sometimes you kind of wish you get on the radio, but then you'll tell everybody in the race what you want to do. You want the private net. It's like, come on, man, get in line.
But looks like Blackwood is actually about ready to make a move on Dotero.
Yeah, he is right there.
Lost a little bit of speed because of that arrow push. And that's a lot of speed he lost.
Yeah, he had to do a little bit of a lift. Looks like got a little light there in the turn there in turn 2. Lost some time. He'll have to build that back up. Now, in front of Nate Brody, this is going to be interesting because Brody has Andres Perez in front of him, and Nate Brody, for the first time in a while, is going to be feeling the arrow push. And look, we got a battle for third, as we got Larkamp was at least alongside Isaac, and now he's back behind him.
Oh, man. This looks like well, I'm not gonna lie, this kind of looks like a super speedway race where if you duck out of line even for just a second,
here's Blackwood.
Really, oh, that's the wrong 7. You really start to lose the draft enough to where you lose a lot of speed.
So you see right there, if you saw the Blackwood pass, how Del Toro had the high line and was able to defend. That's an example of what I was talking about the high line that you're able to defend up there, as he was able to maintain his momentum. There you go. And able to hold that defend his position.
So Blackwood gonna have to fall in line once again, and here he comes again, using that fast lane. Oh, almost gets into Dotero.
Yeah, you have to get as close as possible because you want to get every bit of that momentum so you can pull alongside, and he doesn't run into the same situation that he did a lap before. Here they are, still side by side. Okay, I think that time Sam might actually touch the wall a little bit. So we'll see if that hurts him or not. And here comes George Whitehouse. Now, Whitehouse is a corporate teammate of his, so if anyone's going to cut him a break, it's going to be Whitehouse at least this point in the race.
And not only that, but tell him if he's got damage too. I bet he's in the same Discord.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So
wow, he's getting a great run off of 2. It's so much lower than him.
It's only off of 2. That's the thing. It's not off.
Here's Larkamp. Larkamp side by side with Isaac, and he pulls that position off into 3. So you have now Larkamp is up into now P3. Yeah.
Isaac Morris seems to be struggling just a little bit, which is quite interesting because he's been running up front all race long, and now he's dropped all the way back to 4th. Yeah,
here's Dotero. Dotero's sizing him up for a move here soon.
Is Isaac Morris trying to save as much fuel as he possibly can? Because he did come in a lap early that last time. Maybe he's trying just getting out of the throttle a little bit extra soon.
Absolutely. I would not put it past Isaac to I know Isaac typically as a charger, but if he looks at the guys in front of him saying, I'm not making any ground on these guys, and the only way that I can make ground on these guys is if I just stay out in the racetrack longer and make my last stop further, that's about my only chance to kind of jump these guys here. He might be thinking that. He might be putting that strategy into play right now.
It's really amazing because Isaac actually pitted later than Justin Miller, who we know had that fuel advantage, but he no longer has that fuel advantage. Isaac Morris now has it.
And Justin Miller just moved up into 8th spot.
After that rough start.
Yeah, I mean, he is up 12 positions because he fell all the way to the back.
20th,
so, he is working his way back up.
And he's getting passed now by Ryan Eric King, it looks like.
So
these two
Brody.
Have been battling pretty much for this entire segment. But what were you about to say?
So here's Brody, and he is right behind Dotero's teammate. Here's Blackwood. Blackwood on the inside of Dotero, this time in the 3. I wonder if he's going to be able to hold this time.
Same story, it looks like. Not going to be able to make that pass.
Yeah, and the bad part there is Dotero is in the draft of Isaac, so even if Sam moved to the inside, Dotero will be being pulled along faster by Isaac's draft.
Is it possible that Blackwood maybe has a little bit of damage as well and won't be able to make that move anymore?
Possible. I don't know if it's any damage. It's slight. I don't see anything on the car bent. Now sometimes IndyCar has the unseen damage where it might be something with the under tray. We'll see what happens, especially if his next pit stop runs long, then we'll know why. But they're going to be repairing some required repairs or mandatory or optional repairs. But right now, Brody is stuck behind Andres Perez here. Andres Perez was a teammate of Carlos Dotero. I think he's just
Similarly
unfortunately got
colored
kind of
liveries.
yeah. I don't think I think he just got caught on a bad pit strategy or a pit scenario. So that's why he's kind of so far back. I don't think it's a lack of pace because he is pulling this group right here, but he definitely is giving it or making it a hard time for Nate Brody to get through the corners because he is now fighting arrow push. And now you look back to P2 and 3, and Larkamp is now right on the back attenuator there of Bommersbach. Oh, Bommersbach went up high this time.
Trying to get that, trying to give Larkamp that arrow push, and it worked. Oh my goodness, Larkamp lost a lot of speed from the arrow push. Bommersbach with a really smart move there.
That's what I like to call flashing the bad air to the guy behind you. It's like, take some of that, and you look in the rearview mirror as you slice across his nose, and you're like, take that. Now, those two guys are teammates. They can't play too dirty with each other, but there is a degree of that where you know that when you come down across someone's nose, that they're going to hit that wash, and they're going to have to lift, and you kind of take off, and you build up just a little bit more of a cushion there on your lead. But this whole group right here, it's first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Boom, 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 all right together. Seventh, because Whitehouse is there now.
Yeah, seventh is there now, and I'm thinking maybe Isaac Lopez might wait. That's not Isaac Lopez.
Andres Perez.
Andres Perez. Oh, Isaac Morris.
Carlos
That's
Dotero.
got to be a caution.
There's a record for no.
There it is. There's the caution.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay, so I'm wanting to go back and see that replay.
Yep, let's go back and see it.
Wow.
What happened? Did Isaac Morris just get tight off the exit of turn 3? Using that high line. He just...
And everybody's pitting here. Everyone's going to pit. That's everyone's going to pit. Let's watch this again.
Isaac Morris, here, I'm going to go far chase here. Touches the wall there, and then I don't know, did he got off the wall rather viciously.
Ooh. Ah.
Couple of cars barely missed Otero there.
Poor, you know what? Poor Dotero.
It's wrong place, wrong time.
Poor Dotero. I mean, I don't think. What I did see is I saw Isaac going high, and he was trying to give room to the inside there, and he might have misjudged it and got up into the gray and kind of came off the wall. And when he came down, unfortunately, Dotero was there. And Dotero was, I don't think anything malicious coming out of that. I don't think that's going to result in a EOL or anything for anybody next race or a penalty. I think that's just a racing situation, and poor Dotero is in the wrong place at the wrong time. But
Yeah.
everybody's on pit road now. So everybody's on pit road. That time by, Brody and Bommersbach were on 21 laps of that current stint. So they were within about 6 laps from pitting. So this is, I wouldn't be surprised if the guys behind them might make some spots up on these guys because they have the long fill. We'll see. Here they go. It's going to be close. It's going to be close. It's going to be close.
Oh, it's tight. Brody wins the race off pit road. Kite Bommersbach and Steven Larkamp, your top 3. Those positions do not change.
Now, and look who's in P4.
Was that the 27?
That's Blackwood. He is in P4. And look who's in P6.
Ryan
Justin
Eric
Miller.
King. Oh, Justin Miller.
Justin Miller, yes.
Wow. So everybody went to pit road, lap or not a lap down.
Well, with the exception of Andres Perez, because remember I was telling you about staying out if the caution comes out. He is staying out right here because he's going to get the wave around, and he's going to be able to come all the way back to the backside of the field.
But he's still going to be a lap down.
He'll be back on the lead lap, I think.
I think he's going to be a lap down because he was 2
We'll
laps.
see.
well,
but he'll still get the wave around, so he's going to at least make up a lap if that's the case.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, for sure. So we are going to take this moment to go take another commercial break, and we will be, as the 5 is coming back down pit road, we will be right back.
Come in. Yep.
After these commercial messages. This presentation is brought to you by the Electronic Motor Racing Network. We are a for-hire broadcaster. If you would like us to stream your league, contact DayPaulB661 on Discord, member number 1015. Thank you, and enjoy the race. Welcome back, everybody. We are green flag at Indianapolis in the TI Racing Indy Car Series. Nate Brody leads them to the line with 43 laps to go. Kite Bomber's back in second, and Steven Larkamp in third. Sam Blackwood, he's actually made a huge run to come back in this race.
16 spots.
What do you think of this comeback? Because I'd call it rather impressive.
Well, I don't want to blow my own horn or anything, but I've kind of done the same thing myself, where I started from the pits and then worked my way up. And now when I did it, I had a lot more carnage at the front, so I had to dodge a lot more wrecks. But eventually, you're up there leading some laps and you're engaging with the leaders, and he has done it the right way. He has been patient. He has picked his spots. If he hasn't been able to pull off a pass, you let the guy go, recollect yourself, get back in there and try it again. And he's been doing that, slowly working his way up. And now he's in P4, and he's right there between behind two of his teammates, actually. His teammates are Kite and Steven there in P2 and P3. So he is right there with his teammates, giving it a go here at trying to get the biggest win of them all. Oh, here comes
connection issues. I'm not seeing that. There he is. He went an entire straightaway without being on track.
Wow. Okay, that's and he's the. Fortunately, that's what happens. Kind of sometimes when you're a European driver, you get the bad pings. But hopefully, he is able to recover and make it through the next 40 laps.
Did Kite make a move on the lead?
Yes, he did. Kite made the move for a lead in one, and he's your new leader coming this time around. And they are now 4 laps into this current stint. They've done 2 under green. So we are looking at...
They're going to have to pit one more time, but only one more time.
He goes another 27. We're looking at, let's see, 80... Oh, caution on the field. Caution. I see someone against the wall.
21.
Ed Kerstetter. I'm not sure what happened to him.
Trying to get it spun back around. Having some real issues. Let's go back and take a look at what happened here. Gonna watch from the blimp here. Looks like he just got tight. Got up real close to the wall in turn 1. And, just lost it. He just straight up lost it going into turn 2.
So, I'm going to look at this here from one of my angles here, just to kind of get a better idea, kind of maybe what happened. Let's see here. He's definitely high going into turn. He might have had the arrow for Lester, kind of smacks the wall a little bit, kind of rolls out of the throttle. Now, when you roll out of the throttle, you change the balance of the car, because basically when you take your roll out of the throttle in these cars, because of the downforce, it's just as good as hitting the brakes, really. So you change the balance of the car, and the car comes around on him that way. I don't know. It looks like he is damaged, so that he did. Yeah, so he went ahead and punched back out to the pit. So he's going to be a tow. So unfortunately, he is P3 or P4 in the championship. So that is going to be very costly for him. So we've seen in a period of about 6 laps, 2 of your championship players have some major issues here in Indianapolis.
So Gary, one thing I want to note here is he bounced off the wall, and right before he goes into turn 2, he makes a right turn, trying to get back closer to the wall. I think when he turned back left to go into turn 2, the car just kind of weight shifted, and he lost the rear end of the car because of that.
Yeah, I think that had to do with rolling out of the throttle. When you roll out of the throttle, you will shift the balance of the car, and that is a result of that. So you are correct that the weight did shift, and that's kind of what caused him to bring the back in the round more than likely. Just speculating, I could be entirely wrong. He could probably tell me after the race, is like, man, I was just along for the ride, and the car's coming around regardless if I liked it or not. So but that's kind of what it looked like to us. So we're just trying to give the best guess we can for those that are watching from home. Hey, and again, I want to thank everyone watching from home. Thanks for being a part of TI Racing and the TI Indy Car Series tonight. Join us here next week as we get back on the road course. We will be going back, turning left and right. Same bat time, but a slightly different bat channel. We'll be back on Captain TV, but feel free to join us. And if you're watching for the first time, if you like what you see, definitely check us out next week. And if you want to be a participant, make sure to search us out on iRacing and search up the TI Indy Car Series, TI Racing Indy Car Series, and you could be a part of the next race or the next oval race coming up here. And I believe it's going to be Pocono.
And we're excited about this because we've got I've got 8 viewers currently watching, but actually that's the most all race long. But
oh, we got the Lionheart series watching. I gotta be on my best behavior. I'm one of their practice team drivers, so I gotta be on my best behavior.
Ooh.
I'm in their speedway series. They have a really cool speedway series with the DW12 cars that is highly competitive, and it's a lot of fun. And those guys are incredibly close racers. And it's a great brand of racing. If anybody gets a chance to watch them, they're on Race Spot typically every week, whether it be the IndyCar Series or the Retro Series, which they race the Lotus 79s, which basically sound like the old 80s Indy cars that I used to when I was a kid. I go to the Speedway. That's what I always remember, hearing those Cosworth engines, that whine of that turbocharger going down the front stretch. And then they also race the IR18s, and they're probably some of the best IR18 sim racers I know, period.
The best, huh?
Probably the best. Some of the best. Now, there's some good guys here in TI. And we have and you can normally tell from TI when you have a good strength of field rating. The strength of field rating typically is 2,100 or more in most races. That's pretty good.
Yeah, Lionheart, we're having a ton of fun doing the broadcast. It's been an exciting race, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, so Ed said he
Kerstetter.
had left front suspension from about lap 10 on. Ouch. Yeah, that would do it, man. You hung on really a lot longer than I would have, man.
I had a teammate in my race last night who brushed the wall twice and called it quits. So
But
he
that was in a
definitely
stock
hung
car,
in there.
right?
Yeah, that was in a stock car.
So you got a little bit more protection on the wheels there.
He called it quits. He was like, "This car's too tight. I'm done."
I'm done. I'm out. So as you see, they're coming up to green here. Kite is not. He's getting ready. Yeah, there he is. He's in the traditional. Because Indy cars start single file. You can pass on the right side before the start-finish line, and that's why they're always up against the wall. So you always see that typically in Indy car races.
And there they
but
go.
He is off. Yeah, and he is off before the entrance into 4, and he's not going to worry about anybody passing him on the right side here. Now, in real Indy car racing, once the track goes green, you can pass left or right side. So I wish iRacing would fix that someday.
Well, you know, that's probably once again another NASCAR rule where.
Yeah, it is. It is, and it's kind of concerning that that IndyCar. Oh, looks like Brody's got a great run coming here off of 2, and that's what happens when you're the leader in the restarts. You're just kind of a sitting duck for P2, and this is exactly what's going to happen in 3.
Good turn in. Brody takes the lead back from Kite Bommersbach.
Now, if Kite collects himself, and he probably has, he's going to get right back in that draft, and he can return the favor here, either in the same spot or right here at the end of the straight. So let's see if he pops out and decides to attack and retaliate.
Now,
Nope,
do these cars have a push to pass enabled? I know that the Captain TV series, which is the other Indy Car series that I cover, has that. But do these cars have that push to pass enabled?
Push to pass is for these cars are oval only, or excuse me, road course only.
Okay.
They no longer do push to pass on ovals. They did do. I know at least back in 2004, 2005, they did push to pass on ovals. Because I remember sitting in the stands listening to Danica Patrick's radio when she was leading the 500 that year, and one of the questions she asked, "Here's a pass for the lead."
Here
by the
comes
way.
Kite.
Yep. One of the questions she asked is she could use push to pass on the restart. They used to be able to, and all it did, and I'll be honest with you, with the way the push to pass used to work for those cars, is it basically was a change in engine mapping. That's all it was. Is you push the button, it would change the engine mapping for a little bit, and then return it back to a normal state.
Oh, here comes Larkamp.
Yeah, Lark. Oh, Lark.
That's a 2-for-1 from third to first.
Move. That is a great move, and that also handcuffed Brody because Brody had the run and he wanted to pop out, and he looked behind him, and all of a sudden Larkamp was there. Oh, car hard into turn 4.
Oh, George Whitehouse had a great run all race long, and all of a sudden finds himself wrecked coming off of turn 4. And is that not causing a caution?
Keep your foots in it, lads. No caution. Keep going. Keep going.
Dan Marrera on pit road as well.
Dan might have had to take evasive maneuver, and look who's now P5.
So we've got another battle for the lead here. The 37 back at it on Larkamp.
Now, if these guys, they're teammates, and I know for a fact that they're talking to each other right now. If they can work it, yeah, that's what they need to do. That's exactly what they need to do. If they can leapfrog each other and build themselves out to a little bit of a lead there to get away from Brody and to help pad that little distance that they have, so when they do make that pit stop, that's just a little bit more padding they have. That's exactly what they should do, and they should continue doing that leapfrog at the end of every straight. And as you see, Brody came off a little wide there on the turn 2 because of the aero push. And now you see Kite right there, not going to be able to get close enough to do a leapfrog there. And look who's up in P4 now. There's Sam. Sam's got to run on Brody.
Sam Blackwood, that Mach 5 machine. These might be the 4 fastest cars on the racetrack in this pretty much all race long. I mean, Isaac Morris and the 48. Why is that name not coming to me? Dotero, Carlos Dotero.
Yeah.
Those guys were really fast all race long, but you hate to see that they've got caught up in that incident. George Whitehouse, he's been fast, top 6 all race, but
I think he was in a top 10 all race long, and he was just kind of cruising there. We might have to go back and see exactly kind of what happened there. Maybe just got caught out with an arrow push. Here's a pass for the lead on the main straight, right at the start-finish line. Kite to the inside, going into 1. He will get that position.
And they're not pulling away from Brody quite as much as I think we were expecting them to with these leapfrog moves. Perhaps Brody is getting an extra draft when they are side by side. I know in NASCAR there's such a thing as side drafting, but I don't think that's a thing in IndyCar.
No, side draft is not a thing here, but when there's 2 cars in front of you poking a big hole in the air, you are going to benefit from that. But the thing that they need to do up in the front here is they just need to minimize that time side by side. Here you go. So they're setting it up actually rather earlier on the straights than normal.
And that's gonna give Nate a lot of speed coming into the corner. They did that a little bit too soon, I think, to gain any advantage off of it. But while we're watching this, these guys going back and forth, pretty much this run. Let's go back to that 6 and see what exactly happened, because that was a really hard crash.
Yeah, he pounded that wall hard. And if this was real racing, that would definitely be a yellow. Sometimes iRacing, the chief steward of iRacing, sometimes leaves some questions to be desired about when to throw a yellow or not. But hey, we're still green. They're racing up at the front. No one let off. No one lost any position. Now we got this group of about 5 cars now, 6 cars. Ryan-Eric King now all of a sudden has popped into this particular fight. Ryan-Eric King actually is a
oh my gosh! Oh, that was a hard hit. Watch this. I don't know what exactly happened, but my goodness, he clobbered the wall. Let's go to far chase here, because I mean he touched the apron here going off into turn. Oh, he got loose. Off into turn 4. And I think Marrera thought that was going to be a caution, and it turned out not to be. So here we are going into turn 3.
This is turn 4 here, as he gets down to the white line, and it just steers straight up into the wall.
Yeah, he got it oversteered just a little bit, and when he just kind of touched that apron.
So he pulled what is called the Connor Daly. Connor Daly. Look at this for a battle for third, side by side. Sam Blackwood side by side with Nate Brody right now, going into turn 2, right in front of the suites.
Yep, Sam Blackwood right there, right on Brody's rear end. But what were you?
Yeah, he's going to the inside. He's gonna get this pass going into 3. Yeah, he's got this pass this time. Yeah, Brody's going to try to keep his foot in it. Wisely just falls in behind. Doesn't give up a lot of time. He's going to fall back into the clutches of Justin Miller. Justin, of course, has been on that charge since the lap 1. Literally every minute of the race has been a pressure situation for him.
But what were you about to say about Whitehouse? Whitehouse's wreck.
It was a bit of what I call a Connor Daly. Connor Daly 2 years ago in the 500 when they were actually coming to green in turn 4, he got down low and actually got his left front onto that little patch of cement there. And that's where they used to put rumble strips there for the Indy cars in the mid-90s. There were rumble strips there, and they were also there for the when the Winston Cup cars came for the first time in '94 to keep them from really going down that low onto the apron, maybe cutting through the grass. And now it's just kind of cement. But when you get that down low, that cement's not rubbered in and it's kind of flat, you're going to instantly cause the car to unload, and that's exactly what happened.
And man, that was a really hard hit straight into the wall. He's pretty much going to be done for the race on that crash. It hurt to watch. And
yeah, that's by far the hardest hit of the day.
These guys, obviously they're in sim rigs. They're not actually like racing these cars like Indy car racers. But when you watch that, it hurts.
Well,
when you see that.
If you have a direct drive wheel, if you don't let go and you have your direct drive turned up a lot, you can, I don't know about breaking your wrist, but you could definitely sprain your wrist.
I call that force feedback. But
so I was getting ready to say about Ryan Eric King. He's kind of snuck up here. He started he's gained 7 spots. He's in the P6 right now. He's a racing journalist. I believe he covers Formula E. And I met him through another series, and he is a really, really good oval racer. And he is a very patient racer as well. And it's no surprise that he is up here within this group here, coming to 20 to go.
And like you said, patience is a virtue here. As we've got somebody. Was that Whitehouse?
That might be Whitehouse.
Yeah, he's back on track.
He's back on track. He might be able to, if he keeps going, maybe make a spot or two if there's some more calamity between now and then. But I think right now, kind of everyone's just kind of setting up for the final stop.
As the 62 of Steven Larkamp leads this race, Kite Bommersbach in second. Sam Blackwood has taken over third after starting at the rear of the field. And then Nate Brody, who has led a good portion of this race, back in 4th place, finds himself actually kind of falling off off of that front pack. And Justin Miller, who was caught up in that lap 1 accident, is now in 5th place, worked his way all the way back up into the top 5. Looks like the 4 is down pit road. Gary, is this a strategy call?
This is putting him in the window. He is now 24 laps on this current stint. He is right there. He might try to do an undercut. We'll see. He might try to do an undercut because he'll have to fill up less.
Oh, he went too far into his pit stall, had to back up just a little bit to make it.
That's going to cost a little time. It's going to cost a little time now.
That's a good that was a good half a second to a second that he lost there. Just having to put it in reverse and get back into his stall. So
yeah, I've been doing some spotting for Isaac Morris and even for the ISOWC series, which is another high-end IndyCar league with some just monster racers in it. And it even then, I'll have to tell them, make sure you hit your marks. Come and watch the cones. Okay, look for your pit crew waving his hand. Find your spot. Find your box. Hit your marks. It might seem
overdrive.
Right, you might have to. It might seem remediary that you're telling a driver of his caliber to do something like that, but that's what they do in real racing. And these guys have so much on their minds that a little reminder to help them out isn't going to hurt them. It's not going to cost them any time, provided they hit their marks and everything. And of course,
unless they complain about it.
if he tells me to shut up, I'll shut up. But most of the time, I'm just there to say, hit your marks, and of course, when you do, you always say, hey, good job. Give them the positive reinforcement.
Right. And it looks like, are we going to be seeing these leaders come in here pretty shortly? It seems like we are. And here comes the 62. By himself, though, not going to have any advantage of a draft.
Right, and he did a majority of that stint kind of at the front by himself. So, but hey, look, now Kite, I believe, is going to have a car not too far in front of him, and that's going to be Ryan Eric King, who is kind of a corporate teammate who might be able to help him out. Look, he's trying to follow him. Now, wait a minute. He did do that dive to the inside, so that might have been his cue that he's coming in now. So we'll see if he is going to make that turn on the pit road based upon that move. I think he is.
Looks like Sam Blackwood's going to follow him too. He also made a bit of a maneuver down to the inside.
Oh, look at Brody. Brody's going to try to make up a position
Blackwood!
Oh, hopefully no one got a pass. No one got a black flag there.
And Blackwood once again driving through all those pit stalls.
We're going to see if Blackwood has a long stop, if he's getting the black flag. I wish iRacing would tell us here when we're watching if who gets that stuff and who doesn't. But we'll see if Sam stays there or not.
He is. He's still there right after changing tires. He's going to have a pit road penalty. And after starting at the rear of the field, working his way all the way up to third place, it's all going to go away.
And that's kind of all it takes sometimes. And, it's easy to do. I've done it myself. And you kind of only have one person to look at after the race when that happens. So now we're back up to speed, and now we have Nate Brody on the outside in turn 3, taking a pass 4, which will be for the lead.
This is
Justin
interesting.
Miller is your leader.
We haven't seen anybody really make a move on the high side, only defend the high side. So if Brody is able to make
3
this,
wide. Larkamp was thinking about
almost wanted to, yeah. Instead decides to kind of give a little bit of an aero advantage to Brody, kind of push him along there, and Brody is going to take the top spot from the top side. So maybe that's a little bit of something that Kite might put in the back of his mind.
Of Kite. He gets that position.
Larkamp follows Brody past Bomber's Rock as we still have... Oh, there's Justin Miller. Yeah, he's on pit road now. So are we going to...
He's coming up to speed now, so he's trying to hustle. He's going to pop out right just behind, but he might be out of the reach.
He's going to be out of the draft, yeah.
Draft. Well, we'll see. If these guys fight a lot, it's going to allow him to get right back into this.
It's tight, that's for sure. He is right at a second and a half behind Kite.
Yeah, and that's right where the envelope kind of closes for the draft on these particular cars. Now we're starting to snake down the front straight.
Yep, here comes the 33.
13 laps to go. Outside, trying to pull a Rick Mears right here.
Once again, takes the top spot on the outside. So Larkamp and Brody fighting for that race lead with 13 laps to go.
Yeah, Brody pulls off the pass on the high side and won, just like Rick Mears did in 91 on the route to his 4th win against Michael Andretti. Of course, Andretti did it first, and then Mears answered right on the next lap and did the exact same thing. So let's see if Larkamp can play the Rick Mears role here and make a pass on the high side and return the favor.
And
yeah, I believe, and I was looking at Lionheart saying, was that for speeding? Yeah, we believe that was for speeding.
Yeah, I think a couple of the drivers that have been directly in front of the leaders here throughout the race, a lot of them maybe have been caught for speeding, and we just didn't catch it. So definitely hear this car in front of them. I can't tell who that is.
In front of this group, that's Sam.
Oh, that's Blackwood?
Yeah,
oh, yeah,
Blackwood
he is
right
going
there,
a lap down. So
he is unfortunately going a lap down.
oh man, real tight on Brody's quarter panel.
Yeah, and that's because he knows he has teammates around him, and he's trying to make that as hard as possible. Not trying to quite pull an Al Jr. from 83, but definitely willing to play spoiler here to help his teammates side by side. Doesn't really give much place for Larkamp to go, but it's allowing Kite to get back in this picture, and also Justin Miller.
Larkamp going right in behind the 33, but the 33 is going to clear Blackwood now. Well, not quite. Here comes Blackwood to the inside. Larkamp going to look.
Larkamp thinking about 3 wide, and that's probably a good idea.
At this point, it might be a good idea. You've got 10 laps left in this race, and you've got a lap car, maybe your teammate, but a lap car nonetheless, battling for his lap. essentially.
Oh,
Man,
so
if Blackwood gets into one of these leaders trying to race for his lap back, that is not going to be a good look for him.
It's not going to be well received, and I would suspect at some point that he's going to let these guys
Here he comes.
Here it goes. 25 miles left in this race, and they're going to like, screw it, I'm going 3 wide.
And Brody got out of that real fast. He backed out of that corner.
And discretion is the better part of valor. And Sam got out of it too. And unfortunately, Brody got caught behind him and had to lit up. So actually opening a slight window for Larkamp. 9 laps to go, coming to 8 this time by.
And now Blackwood is going to play as a blocker, basically as a lineman for his current quarterback.
So I've seen this. I've seen this at the real Indy 500 twice for real. Where it happened. You had actually 83. You had Al Jr. in his rookie year, kind of playing spoiler for his dad, who was at the time in the lead and going to try for his 4th Indy 500 win, trying to hold back Tom Sneva. Didn't work. Tom Sneva got almost in the wall, got around Little Al, and then later got around Big Al for his first win. And then also back in 2002 with Castro Neves, desperately low on fuel, they went ahead and they sent Franchitti out. Cool Green sent Franchitti out in front to chase down Castro Neves and to make Castro Neves use more fuel to allow Paul Tracy to, disputedly get a Indy 500 win that particular year. But that was a close road. Like, dude, he just shut the door on him on the outside. He's getting, there is no quarter, no arms on this at all.
And Brody has to be getting frustrated at this point. Blackwood is a lap down, letting his teammate pull away while holding up that 33, that TI racing machine. He's really trying hard here.
Well, he is allowed to race for his lap. He's allowed to stay on the lead lap. And so do I blame him for racing hard there to try to stay on the lead lap? No, I don't, because if there's something that happens right now, he could cycle back around and he'll be right there for a sprint to the finish. Now the fact that he's now allowed 3 cars to pass him, he might just want to pull down and out of the way and let Justin go around him as well and let these guys fight it out. In any case, if there is here's the snake down the backstretch. If there's any case, he's probably not getting the lap back anyways if there's going to be a caution. So just do a good thing for your teammates and probably let them go ahead and slug this out on their own.
Yeah, absolutely. And Brody, I think he's the only TI car here. The other 2 are what team is Kite on?
He is surrounded by Kamigoya Esports and then Team Black Cat, which is Black Cat Racing, which is Justin Miller. They're all corporate teammates with each other, so he is outnumbered 4-1 right here in this particular group. I mean,
it's amazing because TI was doing so well all race long.
Right. This is the worst kind of handicap match that someone wants to be in right now.
I've been in this position before. Maybe not in Indy Car racing, but I've been kind of the only cat at Daytona. At Daytona, of all places, I was the only one on my team surrounded by what the other team was Oversteer Motorsports. They had 8 cars on the track, and I was the only one there on my team.
I've been in that group too. I was racing in the captain's Daytona 500. That he had Daytona 500 weekend. I just kind of popped in there. Me, Isaac, and Ed Kersetter, as a matter of fact, was in that race, and we were the only 3 IndyCar drivers in that race that were nothing but Cup driving regulars. And believe me, those guys gave us no edge whatsoever. In fact, they raced us harder than the next guy, and we knew it too. But here we are, side by side, coming down the main stretch.
Oh, looking 3 wide. Here we go.
Here's Justin Miller. He's like, here's my chance if they all wad themselves up. And and
they wrecked! Kite Bomber's back!
Kite's into the wall.
Oh, and someone else. Was that Lark? Who was that?
Justin Miller.
Oh.
Justin Miller is upset, and I don't know. This race could be over. This race is over.
Oh man, such an unfortunate way to end this race. Who else was involved in that crash? Because I was that the 98 of Luke Dan? No, it wasn't. I'm trying to figure out. So you've got the 37, the 80, and there was one other car that was involved in this crash, but I can't tell who it was. Maybe it was the 10? No. I'm not sure, but let's go back and take a look at what actually happened here, because we saw the 33 take them 3 wide, and then Larkamp got into them, and that was a lot of net code. That's a lot of net code. And the 80 got into someone else there. Oh, okay, that was Blackwood. Blackwood got loose, and the 80 got into him. That was almost like 2 separate crashes in the same corner.
Yeah, I believe that was 2 separate crashes because I think you had Larkamp and Bommersbach has a wobbling wheel, and he is going to finish this race basically as a tricycle. Ryan Eric King, brilliant drive on his part. Luke Daniels, just from nowhere. I mean, the dude is he's one of the championship contenders as well. This is going to be a big day for him. But it looks like it's going to be another TI Racing win at the Brickyard. But it was they definitely made him work for it.
Oh, for sure. So,
but
going
yeah,
back
there was
up to the 80.
so going back to what happened there is they went 3 wide. I think Larkamp and Brody got close. Brody went to give room. There was Bommersbach on the high side. Bommersbach went into the gray, hit the wall. I think what was happening there is Blackwood was still engaged in this group. Saw what was going on, slowed down possibly, and then collected the 80. So that unfortunately took him. So a couple of guys got some late positions there at the very end. We're coming to the final lap here, but looks like it's going to be Nate Brody's going to win, followed by Steven Larkamp, Kite Bommersbach, Ryan Eric King, Luke Daniels, Edu Vila, Isaac Lopez, Dan Marrera, Carlos Del Tero, after having that incident with Isaac earlier in the race. At least salvages a top 10, and Lester comes home in 10th there, rounding out the top 10, and that is going to be how this race is going to finish.
My goodness. What a crazy finish to this race. They went 3 wide, and I was hoping it would work out because that was going to be an exciting end to this race. 3 cars battling for the win. Justin Miller probably was catching them, but as you see, is that Bommersbach that just lost his front wheel? Yeah.
And even if he gets the meatball, if you're given like 5 laps to answer the meatball, and if you get the meatball within 5 laps from the end, you can take the checker flag and there's no penalty.
This
so
is
he's
it.
Gonna
Nate Brody
cross the start finish line.
Crosses the start finish line, and Nate Brody will win the Indianapolis 250. There he goes to
crown
celebrate.
Crown jewel number 2. So we're not going to have anyone's going to sweep the Triple Crown, but Ed Kerstetter got Jewel 1. Nate got Jewel 2, and Jewel 3 will be decided later this season at Pocono.
Oh, Justin Miller typing in his frustrations on the Discord chat.
I don't blame him. Justin was definitely playing the role of kind of Ed Jones from about 4 or 5 seasons ago in the Indy 500, where he just was hanging around, and all he needed to do was one guy to make a mistake, and all of a sudden you're the Indy 500 champ. And he was in the right place, and in the right place, in the right position, but unfortunately the wrong time found him.
Yeah, Blackwood just got loose going into turn one. Seeing those two cars and those three cars in front of him making contact, and obviously Brody coming out on top here. It's into the wall on his burnout. This is a pretty awesome burnout. A lot of smoke.
We'll see if we can get these guys into the broadcast booth here and see if they want to tell us about their race. I'm sure there's going to be some comments.
Oh yeah, it's going to be quite interesting. So, let's start off with your third place finisher, Kite Bomber's Buck. See if I can get him in here.
I can probably bring him up in here.
I can't.
There he is. Hey, Kite, rough finish, man. Tell us about, from your point of view, and tell us about your race, because virtually you were up there all day long.
Yeah, I already had a bit of a chat with Steven. Both of us feel like we should have won this race, and so it's really disappointing to not bring it home for the team. And that I've reviewed over the crash, and it was just one of those things where 3 into 1 doesn't go.
Mm-hmm.
And throwing a little bit of netcode, and it found me in the wall. But I was fortunate the way that crash ended up playing out, that my car wasn't so broken that I couldn't limp it home for third place. So I'm grateful for that. It's a good point stay. I'll make some ground back up on Isaac, as I believe he finished pretty far back in the running.
Yeah, it was a rough day for him.
Yeah,
but
P16.
I mean, y'all saw my pole time. Y'all saw how much I was running up there, and really feel like I could have won this one. So it's a bit disappointing to not come home with the victory.
It was a really impressive fight. You were definitely up there all day long, and had a great car, but you were basically riding around without a wheel for that entire during that last caution. What were your thoughts? Were you worried about possibly like breaking the car enough to where you couldn't get back around the track?
Not really, no. That left front wasn't doing much except for being a nuisance on my screen, at least. I don't know if you guys saw it, but on my screen it was just wobbling around like crazy. So I was just trying to get to where we could be at a pace speed, because then I knew the forces wouldn't cause it to go flying off. But after being in a crash right there, when you think you could have won the race, the kind of on the back of my mind in that instance.
I believe me, I feel your pain. I've been there before, and I think you understand why I feel your pain this time too. So, good job, nevertheless. Good point stay for the team and for yourself. So that's great. You got the mic, man. You got the podium. So, any shout outs you want to make while we got you here?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to the entire Kamigoya team, as well as Black Cat. Both of us, or all of us today, worked together really well to put ourselves in that position, because if you look in that top 5 there at the finish, it's 2, 3, 4, 5. It's a shame we couldn't have gotten that top run, but it really shows how well we worked together as a team today. And I know wins are coming for us this season. Missed out on an opportunity today, but I know we can get to victory lane. So just really proud of the effort that the team put together. Of course, thanks to Gary Godsoe, team owner, and Motorsport 101 for hopping on. And lastly, the last sponsor we got on that car, the Trevor Project, a great organization. If you are going to be donating money anywhere, consider giving a little bit to the Trevor Project, a cause that's really near and dear to my heart.
Next week, Watkins Glen. I would imagine that you probably ran this a number of times, probably know it like the back of your hand, feeling confident?
Oh yeah, I've already been practicing with what I believe is something that will be close to the setup that the league will put forward, and I feel good. The Glen is a place that I get along with pretty well. Last time I ran there, I picked up the victory in another league, so hopefully I can duplicate that next week.
Well, thanks for the effort. I certainly appreciate it on multiple levels. You know that, and we'll talk later in the week, I'm sure. But I know it's going to be tough to get to bed, but once you get to bed, I'm sure you'll sleep it off and you'll be fine in the morning. But thanks a lot, man. You did a great job.
Yeah, and thank you to you guys for stepping in and putting together a good broadcast while Chris couldn't be here this week. Appreciate it.
There you go. Kite Bombers Bach P3 today at Indianapolis. Let's go and bring up P2, Mr. Larkamp. Hey, Steven, it's Gary and Alan in the booth. The turn one incident from your point of view, and other than that, tell us about the rest of your race.
Well, I actually talked it over with Nate just before we got here, and we pretty much decided it was hard racing. I may have misjudged it on my part, so I'll take responsibility from the initiation standpoint. But overall, we were just three guys going at it for the win. I do feel bad for. I never liked being the guy that starts the wreck, but thankfully it wasn't. It could have been a lot worse, especially for my teammate Kite. I really felt bad for him, especially since we both agreed that we should have been. We both thought we could have won this race, and we really could have. It was quite a show in the last few laps. We mostly just, in most of the cases, just keeping the car clean, not doing anything crazy till the end, because we were up there fighting for the win, and it's the biggest race of the season. It's something you got to go for, but it's not exactly the way I wanted it to end. So for my part of it, I do feel bad on it.
Well, you can take solace in the fact that there was a lot of netcode in that. You clearly didn't. I don't know if you were necessarily going to hit him or not going to hit him, but that was a lot of space between you and that 37.
Yeah, I had to look at it on the replay as well, and there was quite a lot of empty space there. It would have been a close call, but the whole netcode situation really didn't help there. So I especially feel bad for Kite in that regard. It's quite amazing that he was able to limp that car back across the line under caution. So I'm happy for him, and I'm happy for a good points haul for the team, but just thought that it could have been that win, but oh well. It's you win some, you lose some, and all that.
Yeah, I keep trying to tell myself all that stuff. And you say all these sayings, and like I said, Kite, you'll have a tough time going to bed, but then you'll sleep it off eventually. But it's going to be a tough one. But nevertheless, many thanks from my point of view. You got the mic. Anybody you want to shout out to, say hi to while we got you on here?
Well, definitely want to give a big shout out to my teammates at Kamigoya, to Kite and especially Sam there at the end, because he was doing his level best to try and mess up Nate's chances while I was out front. But but everyone on the team did a fantastic job. We had a great points haul tonight, and it shows that the team has a lot of strengths, and we're definitely going to be in a shot to do make a lot of noise this season. And also especially to my my other teammates at NHR Esports for their efforts in the Lionheart Indy Car Series, especially. I want to give those guys a shout out. So yeah,
they were watching tonight. They were part of the chat, so we want to thank them for watching.
Yep, I actually told the league's chief admin George Anzaldo about the race, so he was watching from the booth. And George, if you're still watching, bud, I hope you enjoyed the show.
That was a lot of fun. Good job on your second place finish. I know you seem well. I know you're disappointed in how that all turned out. We're kind of disappointed that it ended up finishing under caution, but hey.
Oh, believe me, I'm disappointed too.
It was a fun race all the way up until that point, and you know what? Go get them next week.
Yeah. Well,
Watkins Glen.
oh yeah, one of my favorite tracks. I think it'll be another fun one. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Stephen. We'll catch you next week. I'm sure we'll talk later in the week. Congrats
Yep.
and thanks a lot. Good job.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, guys.
Well, now I know George was watching. Said George, if you guys ever in Lionheart need a backup color guy to step in on race spot, just have him hit me up. Now I know my stuff. I know my IndyCar stuff. I mean, I go way back on IndyCar knowledge, way back. I mean, I'm not like Donald Davidson smart or anything like that. That guy knows more than I ever could forget. But yeah, I living in Indianapolis gets you. It's like kids that grew up in the South. That's all I know are stock cars and everything. And that's what I grew up in Indianapolis, and that's what I know is IndyCar racing. I'm sure kids down in the South when they were racing the cars, they're like, I want to be Richard Petty, and up here we're all fighting who could be AJ Foyt. So I know my IndyCar history, and I just love talking about IndyCars and everything. So. Yeah, it was great to step in and help you guys, and if guys at Race Spot ever need something for the Lionheart series, you guys just let me know. But let's enough of me. Let's get the winner up here, Mr. Nate Brody, his first win at Indianapolis for TI P1, going 3 wide in Indianapolis. Hey Nate, and in the entire time of racing that I've watched races in Indianapolis, I don't think I can recall very many times going 3 wide in the turn 1 other than the start of the race. I can't think of any instances where anyone's going for the win. That was kind of truly unique. Tell us about that from your point of view, as well as every bit of the race leading up to that point.
Yeah, I mean, the ending, I got stuck behind Sam for a little bit there, and then Steven and Kite both got by me, and I knew it was like, I think 3 to go. I knew I had to at least get by one of them to have somewhat of a shot. And the 3 wide opportunity arose, and I thought I was going to clear Steven, and but we were still pretty much 3 wide into turn 1, and some net code, some racing happened, and we didn't all make it out in one piece. But yeah, I mean, the race was a ton of fun. Started up front, kind of hung back in 3rd, 4th for a little bit on the first stint, saving fuel, and then I ended up at the front on the first pit cycle, and I kind of stayed there.
You jumped Isaac on that pit stop. Did it just because did you just hit the box harder than he did, or I mean, how'd you make up that spot? I mean, that was a pretty definitive pass. I don't see very many times Isaac getting past in the pits like that.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't even know. I mean, I was close to him on pit entry, and I had a pretty normal pit box entry, and I don't know if I just had a faster stop or what, but I was pretty well in front of him on pit exit, so I guess things happen, and somehow we ended up front, and I ran up there for a long time, and which was nice, and yeah, and then it just came down to those last 30 laps on that last stint, and just had to be in the right place at the right time.
Alan, you got anything for him, or you want to ask anything for the winner?
Well, I'm watching his burnout, so.
Oh boy.
Well,
that was an impressive burnout, I'm gonna say.
While we're watching your burnout, and while we got you here, this is 2 years in a row now. TI has won the Indy 250. They did the 300 this year, actually. We extended the distance, so. You got one of the crown jewels. Next crown jewel is Pocono, but the next real race on the schedule is Watkins Glen. This is got you definitely in points contention now. Your thoughts on Watkins Glen, the remainder of the schedule, and bringing the fight to possibly your teammate there at the top of the standings?
Yeah, I mean, Watkins Glen has always been one of my favorite and just in general best tracks on iRacing, so I'm looking forward to that a lot. I've ran a lot with the IndyCar there too. I think the track I'm probably most I don't know what the word is, but unsure about will be the finale at Barber. I've never driven at that track before, and I've heard it's not very easy. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, even when the real drivers had a tough time with it this year. So
Yeah, we're gonna see how that goes.
While we got you here, anybody you want to say hi to, shout outs to, that type of thing?
Yeah, I guess TI. Thanks to Dan, Charles, Isaac, Chris, Edu, all the guys helping me out this over the weekend during practice. QG3 karting, Carbon Digital Graphics, Burrell, Ricardo, and Freeline. Thank all of them. Why not?
There you go. Well, congratulations on your win. I'm not sure before the winner's got in the ring. I don't know if you're getting the ring or not this year, but nevertheless, it's ring worthy. So
maybe he gets to kiss the bricks.
Yeah,
but
there you go.
What you do need to do, Nate. Now this is non-negotiable. Is you need to go to the refrigerator, get yourself a glass of milk.
You got to pour it on yourself, man.
Well, go outside and you drink part of it and then pour it on yourself. I think Dakota the Med one time went into a shower and actually poured it on himself there in the shower. Whatever you need to do, but you got to record yourself video. You got to put it on the Discord channel for TI of you taking the big swig of milk to show everybody you celebrating your Indy TI Racing Indy 300 win.
Oh boy, I guess I gotta do that now.
You gotta do that, yeah. So I mean, any type of milk, chocolate milk works because that that was on the list of milk that you could have. Montoya
even almond milk.
Yeah.
Montoya picked. Now the traditional one is buttermilk. Now I don't know if you really want to pour buttermilk on your head, but I guess you can. But any type of milk, you could definitely just don't be a Fittipaldi and go out and get orange juice for God's sake.
Yeah, okay.
But you got to get yourself a glass of milk and get yourself a video and record yourself and put it on the TI Discord server of you enjoying a milk for your championship win here. So it doesn't happen very often, so you might as well live it up while you can.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Why not?
Yeah, all right. Okay. What did I just commit myself to? Okay.
Yeah.
Congrats, then. We will see you next week at Watkins Glen.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Well, that's it. I'm gonna get the standings here one more time, and we'll go those, and we'll send your viewers off. And I want to thank everybody for finding us in a different spot this year for this race. Normally we're on Captain TV, and this time we're with you guys, and you guys did a great job. And I want to thank you guys for having me and allowing me represent the league here and bring it to hopefully some new fans.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the Electronic Motor Racing Network, we're still a growing broadcaster, and I am grateful for the opportunity that you guys have given me, me and Jesse, to build off of what you guys have. And I mean, I think I've got like over 200 views on the Michigan race that we did from last season, and it's awesome. That's our biggest video so far. So
great.
Yeah, you guys are awesome, and we really thank you guys for having us.
Well, for some reason, iRacing is not giving me the final standings, but I do have them here in my live timing and scoring, and I probably have them on yours as well. Do you got an overlay you could throw up for the final standings?
No, I do not.
Okay, well, that's okay. We'll just go ahead. Do the I'll go ahead and just do the standings here for you. Your winner tonight, Nate Brody, who finished first. Your podium is rounding out your podium is Stephen Larkamp and Kite Bombers back in second and third. Your top 5 is Eric King, Luke Daniels. Your top 10 is Edu Vila, Isaac Lopez, Dan Morera, Carlos Del Tero, and Lester. Lester knows. We can't never say it. He needs to tell us, really, and we would actually say it, but let's just say Lester H.
He needs to finish in the top 3.
That's right. We can actually ask him for sure. Your top 15, Sam Blackwood, who was up there all day, Andres Perez, Justin Miller, unfortunately, got caught up in that last lap incident, and 13th. 14th, George Whitehouse, who's taking down demolition of the inside and outside wall in Indianapolis. P14, Ed Kerstetter also had an incident, actually held his car together for much of the race. with some, looks like he said right front damage. And he managed to make it for most of the race. Good on him. Your points championship leader, Isaac Morris, P16, is going to take a bit of a hit, but he still has a big cushion, so he's still going to maintain his lead. P17, Charles Baldwin. P18, our good man and good friend, Jim Herrick. P19, the big Grabowski. And P20, David Wimsley. That makes up your field for this week in the Indy 300. Again, your winner is Nate Brody, Stephen Larkamp, and Kite Bommersbach are making up the podium here in Indianapolis. Had a fun time. Thanks for having me. Everybody can join us again next week back on Captain TV as we move to round 6 at Watkins Glen. I will be back in the booth as a regularly normal. Normally, I wasn't going to be in the booth, but like I said, my wheel wasn't working. Probably another 12 days before I see that back here, so I'm going to be sitting here probably doing a lot of broadcasts in the meantime. But you guys did great. Thanks for broadcasting, and if you ever need a hand at Indy Car Racing, just give me a shout.
All right, and that's going to do it for us, guys. Have a good day.
Good night.